everybody, Kimberly Snow. I am with Butterfly Beauties. I am an artist with a company called Saint. I am going to be using their product today as we complete our mature skin eye makeup class. Saint is an all cream based makeup. It is all of your makeup comes in one palette so that everything is in one place. You can add a few brushes, a perfector sponge, a little mascara, and you are good to go. So as you can see, my tin is looks a little bit like this. I apologize for the shine because of the lights we're using. But you can see all of my eye makeup for today is going to be in this top section, but I do have a bottom section where I keep my foundations, my lip and cheek, my bronzer. So you can see everything fits into one neat little palette. Today, let's talk about eyes. Some of the things that we as mature ladies, say 35 years of age and plus, that we deal with that maybe our younger counterparts, our 20-year-olds and younger, aren't really thinking about. We can have fine lines and wrinkles not only underneath our eyes, but as our skin starts to loosen, our eyelids start to get just a little bit more, I don't want to say saggy, but the skin is less taut. So when you think about us putting on makeup, we really have to make sure we're applying it correctly so that it is getting on our actual lid and not just sticking as we're swiping to those individual fine lines and wrinkles. The other thing that we could be dealing with are maybe some age spots in different areas, melasma. We could be dealing with color issues as far as having maybe blues or purple or sometimes even brown skin discoloration. None of those things are horrible. They can all be fixed or diminished with the right color and product. So when I say the right color, what I'm really meaning is in order for you to actually diminish what it is imperfection-wise that you are trying to get rid of, you need to ensure that you are using a color that somewhat either matches or comes close to that opposite of on the color wheel so that you can get that camouflaged kind of a look. If you go with a color that's as white as your skin, not only is it going to accentuate some of that texture we just talked about, but you're not going to get a color correction. And if you go lighter than your skin, you are going to not have the product last. So color correction is a big to-do. When I show you the color that I'm going to use to correct, you're going to be like, oh, no way, that's crazy. But I promise you it's going to work and you'll be able to see it. You can get color matched by me at any time. I'm going to put a link in the comments so that you can click on that. You can get a free color match. All you do is answer a few questions. You'll take a couple of pictures for me, one with a fresh face, one with makeup, so that I can see how you like to wear your makeup. And I can also see those imperfections and the shades of your skin so I can best help match to the color that's going to get you the best results. All right, let's dive in here. The colors that you use, so here's another thing that we have to think about, right? What do other people have to say about our makeup, right? As mature women. What's the first thing they say about eyes is stay away from anything that is glittery or that has some shimmer to it. Only use muted not tunes, we're not singing. Only use shadows that would be more matte or that the colors are more muted. That is hogwash. You do you, and you make yourself happy. So if you love tons of color, use tons of color. If you love that little bit of shine and shimmer, just use it, but place it in a way that is the most attractive to you and that you get the most out of what you're trying to accomplish. So I'm going to use a couple of tools. I don't have anything on my face as of yet. Saint has all of their own brushes. This is the Multitasker brush. You can see that this brush is really taut at this end and it's very fine and detailed so that you can get up close. I'm also going to use an eyeshadow brush. This is a little bit, it's got a little give to it, but it's a little smaller if you can see. This obviously a little bit fluffier, great for blending and doing things like that. I am going to do my eyebrows so you can see that, and you can see I have an end with a spoolie and I have the other end for adding any kind of powder or smoothing out a liquid that where I want to fill in my brows. So you can see all the brushes are double-ended, which is total bang for your buck and also takes up less space in your makeup case. I am going to use our powder brush just because you're going to see after I prime or we talk about priming, I am going to set that with a little bit of powder just so we get a little bit longer wear and that we make sure we have a nice smooth surface for our shadow powders to adhere to. Today I am going to use, as you can see, and I'm still trying to figure this camera out, I gotta go this way with my finger. This is the vanilla setting spray or powder that I am going to be using. If I move this direction, this is my brow wax, and as I go further, these are the colors I'm going to use today. Saint has a ton of colors to pick from in matte, shimmer, glitter, all kinds of things that you can choose from. So you can mix and match however you want to, and with the different types of texture of shadow. I am going to go up top here and I am going to use a little bit of an eyebrow to add some color and fill in where I'm a little bit blank in my eyebrows. So the first thing we're going to do, I am going to prime. I am just using NYX has a primer. You can use a specific eye primer if you want to. I'm going to place a little bit of this and the lid is still on this guy while I'm trying to pull this lid off. So as you can tell already in some of the scenes that you see me in, I have a little bit of a tremor. So if you see my head shake a little bit, you see my hand shake a little bit, that's all it is. You know, the best part about that is that I can still do makeup like anybody else who has a steady hand. I just have to do things a little bit different. So I am going to put just a little bit of a primer on my face or on my eyelids. This is actually probably a little bit too much. I'm not really as familiar with this product. I've only used this to try with a smaller tube. So I do like it. It does take a hot minute to set. The other thing you could use to prime your eyes is your foundation color. All you would do is place that on your lid, and this is drying already, so we're going to be good to go. Place that on your lid, and it's kind of no different than when we put a primer on our face. Or I always use this example in all of my classes or tutorials. When you go to paint a wall, you want to put a primer down before you put your main paint color so that you get the best out of the paint you're using and also you get more longevity. So that's no different than what I'm doing with the primer on my eyelid. Okay, so then while that is drying and setting, I'm going to actually start with my eyebrows. And you can see I have gray in my eyebrows. I have definitely some open patches where I have overplucked. And I'm starting to lose, a lot of people lose this area right here first as far as you age. So all we need to do are use some tools to try to fill that back in. Eyebrows definitely shape your face. They definitely raise your eyes up. And so it's one of those things that if you're going to do anything, make sure you're doing your eyebrows just so that you can get that, whoo, I got a frame to my face kind of a finished look. I am going to use a little bit of setting spray on my spoolie. I'm going to just spray the end of it before I use my brow wax. Now, why am I doing that? Because what that's going to help me do is let the product sit in my eyebrows longer and better. I'm going to show you this real quick. I showed you that eyebrow wax. I am going to just take my spoolie and just run it in the eyebrow wax after I had put the setting spray on. I'm going to then use this to kind of pull apart those hairs in my eyebrows. And I am going to just, at this point, it looks like they're wild and crazy. This is actually the look right now, so you wouldn't want to tame this down. But if you're not that girl, all I'm trying to do at this point is allow those hairs to individually kind of stand on their own. So not only are they going to grab the color I'm going to place into them, but they'll actually do what I want them to do and not be all stuck together in clumps. So that's the whole purpose of the setting spray and the eyebrow wax. You don't have to use it, but it's just one of those extra tools that you can have in your arsenal. So I'm going to just spray it again to do the other eye. I'm going to dip back into my brow wax. All of these tins that go into this palette are magnetic, and you can move them around really easily depending on what it is you're going to do for your makeup look. So as you can see, same on this side. We're just pulling those eyebrows apart. And listen, we've said this before. These girls are sisters, not twins. They're not going to look exactly alike. That's okay. A lot of people use microblading, the soft texture. They're actually pencils that you can use to microblade. So if you wanted to make things look a little bit more symmetrical, you could use things like that. Okay, I am going to use the other end of this spoolie, not that one, this end right here. And I am just going to dip into, now you would choose a color that would be closest to your eyebrows. I'm going to use a shadow. You could use your contour color. You could use, there are tons of pencils that people have that have different color shades to them. There are other types of powders that you could dip into. I'm just actually going to do double duty and use my shadows. I'm going to dip into my black, which is an eyeliner color typically, but because I'm so dark, I can get away with it in my eyebrows. I'm going to just place a small line, and I'm going to take this to the side to where my eyebrows somewhat arch. I don't have a huge arch in my eyebrows, but I'm going to take it right to that midpoint. I'm going to just keep dipping in. I'm going to go across the top here so that I can kind of give myself a little bit of a line. And then I'm going to start filling in. You don't have to be perfect or precise, because we're going to use the spoolie to help smooth things out. And you're going to see in just a minute what kind of a difference this makes. And you can see my hand shake, so I am going to just, rest my hand on my face while I do this so that I get a little bit of extra stability. I'm going to use the end of the spoolie again, and I'm going to just smooth out those colors that I just used and kind of blend a little. You can definitely see that this eyebrow is filled in now. This eyebrow still has a little bit of bald spots. I could keep going and adding, but I'm not a huge, I don't need them to be super dark. Now, you could leave your eyebrows the way they look right now with them pulled apart and up. That is kind of the style right now, ladies. Or you could take your spoolie and just kind of run it along the top here and kind of give yourself more of a shape up top. It was as simple as that. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side real quick so that we have a finished look. Again, I'm going to just place a line underneath, and I'm going to bring that up to my arch or midpoint in my eyebrow. Right now you can see that line in on my underneath. That's okay. We are going to blend. Now I'm just going to fill in. And all I'm trying to do is fill those spots where I either have gray hair or I have overplucked and I don't have any. Now you can see right now, I am going to go in just a little bit more and fill in right here. You don't have to be heavy-handed. I'm going to blend with the spoolie. Now, you can see that I got a little bit of difference, and you can see this shadow right here. Not a problem. I'm going to take a brush and just kind of blend that off. That's the nice thing about working with shadows and creams, is they're really forgiving. So again, I could, if I wanted to follow the current style, leave it up and fuzzy. I'm not going to. I'm going to just run my spoolie so that it smooths out. Now, I can see that these girls are they're just different. It drives me crazy. I'm going to just add just a little bit more to this side, just to give myself a little more fullness. But I know better, because I know these girls are not going to look exactly the same. I just am my purpose is to frame my eyes, which gives me a canvas for the rest of my face. So I am going to be good with this. I'm going to move to my shadows, but that is the easiest way to do your brows. Like I said, you could use, you wouldn't even have to use this spoolie. You could use some type of a small brush like this, and you could use your contour color and just go in and fill everything in. If you have an eyebrow comb, you could do the same thing and just pull the hairs apart that way. So we're good to go with that. And I think our eyelids are dry enough that we are golden with that. I am going to use my powder brush. If you had used your foundation or highlight color to try to give yourself a little bit of prime, at this point it should be dry enough that you can dip into your setting powder. And I'm going to just tap in here, just like that. You can see I just barely have anything on my brush. And I'm just going to go over this. All that is going to do, especially if I used my foundation, which is a cream, is it is going to give me more of a solid base for my shadows to grab onto, as opposed to me trying to put it right on top of the creams. So that's the only purpose in this, and you don't need to use very much, just enough to give yourself like a thin coating. Okay, so we are going to move to our colors. I typically use these two brushes I kind of showed you before. I am going to start with my my shadow brush. I'm going to go into this color Cupcake right here, and I am going to just kind of give myself a little bit more of a base color. If you don't have too many, if your skin is not all that loose on your lid right now, you could just do some swirly motions. If you're dealing with a lot of skin and when you are pushing, you can see it move, your best bet is to press all of your shadow on, okay? So that it is definitely getting into those areas. I'm going back into Cupcake. I'm gonna just swirl and give myself a little bit of a base. And you can see that's not too bright. I am gonna try to stay out of this area right here, right up along the brow. If I get there, no big deal. We can always fix it. Okay, I'm gonna move to my next color here, which is a medium, and I'm going to just place that kind of in the corner here. I'll tap so that you can see what that accomplishes. What happens is, if you're looking for, the way you build color is to just keep adding, layer by layer by layer. What's nice about that is you're not starting out with this really dark color and not knowing what to do. Let's talk about hooded eyes. What are hooded eyes, first of all? So this area right here would be your hood. The older we get, the more this starts to close down. That's not a problem when it comes to putting eyeshadow on, as long as when you're putting your colors on, you're keeping your eyes open. Because when we tend to close our eye and put our shadow on, when we lift back open, then all of that product that we put on is now underneath that hood. So all we're trying to do is stay just a little bit above the hood. And can you see how my skin moves like this? That's what I'm talking about, where it is better for you to tap than it is to do the windshield wiper, unless you know you can pull and get your straight surface. All right, let's see. I'm going to go in with just a little bit more of that color right into my line here. These are very, the eyeshadows are definitely very pigmented, and I'm using some very light colors. I'm keeping things pretty neutral today. But you can start to see the pink in my eyes already. All right, I'm going to move into this beauty, Mija. I'm going to put that on the other end of my brush. This is just the smaller end. And I'm going to start in the corner, and I'm just going to kind of build. You can see Mija she is a beautiful. And she's a little brighter. So I am going to just press Mija into the corner. I'm going to just keep pulling her out and just building my color. I'm going to go into the crease line, but a little bit above, so that when I close my eye, you can still see her. Remember, we're keeping our eye open. Over here, I'm going to press, press, press. Same, same. Just a little bit above my ridge here, my crease. She is so pretty. Now, I could use browns. Mija is going to be my main girl today. So I'm not going to worry about any other colors on the outer corner. But I could go in with even darker. I could go in with a brown. I could go in with a deeper purple. I could start with some more of a peach kind of a look. Today we're just, for demonstration purposes, we're going to just stick so that you can see the darker shade on the outside. Okay, I'm going to go back to the other end of that brush, and I'm just going to blend a little bit. And all I'm doing is just kind of softening those edges so that I don't have too much. Now you can just barely see a whisper of her here. I could keep adding so that I do get a little bit more and it is a little darker. And we'll just keep pressing and blending, right? So we're just blending out those edges. Okay, I am going to go in with a little bit of a glittery color. Ah, I know, but I think it's pretty and I think it looks pretty on. So I'm going to use my finger and I'm just going to go along the lid part right about there. I'm going to move it around, so no worries if I don't get it in the right spot. Actually, I'll show you guys with the Multitasker brush as well, this end right here. I'm going to just dip into that color and I'm just going to go along the lid. I could go in this direction and just follow it over. It just gives me a little bit of sparkle. And we'll blend this so it's not quite so in your face. But if you like it in your face, darling, leave it in your face. Okay, I'm going to take my blend brush and I'm going to just go over this just a little, just to tone down any of those spots that might have gotten a little crazy. This guy just doesn't want to even out. All right. Okay, and you can see I kind of kept my eyes open for that whole that whole biz. All right, if I wanted to, I can go in with my multitasker. I could also go in with my, so this is my blush or my eyeshadow brush. I could use this end right here to add a little bit of a liner. That's another thing that people are always making comments about, that mature women should stay away from black liners. If you like black liners, use black liners. Just place it correctly. Try not to go, if you're going to use the bottom of your liner underneath in your lash line here, just go to the mid part of your eye instead of all the way in so that it doesn't close your eye down. Same with the top. I'll use a little bit of black. How about that? Ooh, scandalous, baby, scandalous. I'm just going to go along the top section with my black, because it's not allowed. I kind of like that it's not allowed. That makes me want to do it more. No worries, I got it into my... And I'm going to just lightly blend that. That just gave me a little bit of color. Nothing crazy. I'm going to go underneath my eye. I'm just going to lift up and just go under with the black first. And then I'm going to go back to that Mija color. I'm going to just place that along the bottom as well, just to bring those together. I'll go along the bottom, just to the midline. Use a little bit of Mija. Now, if I wanted to use, a liner, I absolutely could. So I could take that into the waterline. I haven't been really doing that these days. I've kind of been using the shadows just to give me that illusion of a liner. Again, I could keep building depending on what I want. I'm going to use just a tad more of my sparkle since I kind of overshadowed it with my liner. But that's okay because I am going to put mascara on and that will bring that all together. So you can see I have a little bit of the red or the Mija on the outside. You can see my black. I have a little bit of sparkle, not crazy or too much right here. I could go back in with Cupcake if I wanted to and just lighten this up just a little bit more. I could even use an Illuminator right here just to give myself just a little bit more of a matted white kind of a look to the inner lid. And I'll put all of the colors that I used down in my link just so that you have it. At this point, I would, I'm going to use, actually, I'll show you what I'm going to use. I'm going to just take that Cupcake color on my multitasker brush, and I'm just going to go up underneath my eyebrow where I didn't have any shadow and we stayed out of. Just to lighten that up and give me a little bit of dimension up top there, right underneath my brow. You could use your brightener in your highlight color scheme and go up underneath there. You can use, like I just did, the shadow that I originally used underneath everything, right? So as long as when I am closing my eyes, you can still see my shadow color above my hood, that's what we're looking for, right? I blended everything together. I used my shadow as my liner. I could, if I wanted to, I haven't put my makeup on yet, but the best part about this is if I get any fallout, when I put my foundation, and I use a cream foundation with Saint, I could bring this up and it would clean up all of that fallout, and it would also raise up the way my eye looks. The other thing that I could do to raise up my eye, I'm going to take that Multitasker brush again. I'm going to go back into that liner color that I used underneath. I'm going to put it right in the corner, and I'm just going to close my eye and go upward with that color. I'm not really creating a wing, which is all the rage right now, and I'll connect this right here. And I'll blend, I'll show you. I'm going to close my eye and just go upward with that color. This one's a little harder because my skin seems a little looser on this side, but as long as I'm taking it upward, there we go, I'll be good. All right, I'm going to bring that together right here. I'm going to take my blend brush. I'm just going to blend that just a little bit so it's not so harsh of a line. And again, that just kind of raises my eyes. I have this little spot, it's driving me nuts. Okay. All right, just kind of raises my eyes up. So I'm going to use a little mascara. I'm using Clinique. I also use Maybelline. I've used Thrive. Just depends on what you like. At this point, Saint is not selling a mascara, so whatever you use is perfect. I usually don't do my bottoms. I am going to do just a slight little bit today, and I'm going to do my bottoms first. Why do I do that? Because if I do my tops and then I go to do my bottoms, my top lids could potentially touch my upper eyelid, and it would deposit color on there, right? So I'm going to do the bottoms first. We'll let those dry a little bit, and I'll show you a little trick. So if I look close, you can see I do have a little bit of mascara underneath here. Not a problem, darling. I got you. I'm going to use my spoolie after things settle down and dry a little bit, and I'm just going to go in with the tip of the spoolie and gently pull those pieces that went underneath with the spoolie. Could do that on top as well, no worries. Just be gentle. All right, let's put a little bit on my top. You could do this, obviously, with your mascara. You could do, yikes, one layer, or you could do two. Just let it dry a little bit in between so you get the best coverage. The most important thing is to try to pull those lashes apart. I am not a lash curler. My hands are a little too shaky for that. If you are a lash curler, do that first. I actually know people who actually heat up their lash curlers even. But use your lash curler first, then apply your mascara. Okay, I think I'm not going anywhere today, so one layer is going to be good for me. That is pretty much all she wrote as far as an eye look goes. So we talked about pushing the shadow in gently as opposed to swiping if you have fine lines and wrinkles on your lids or more looser skin. We talked about using a primer first and then a powder over it, just to kind of give us a good palette or place to start for our shadows to grab onto, so we get a little bit more longevity. If you have discoloration, we would be using our foundation and our highlight colors in the right color for you in order to correct those underneath. You could actually use some type of an eye cream to help with the fine lines and wrinkles before you place your foundation. We talked also about filling in the eyebrows and shaping them so that you have a good frame for your eyes and your face in general. We put our outer darkest or darker color up above the hoods of our eyes, especially as we age, so that we actually can still see and get that color up above, so that you get the benefit of all the different shades that you're using. That is kind of about it, ladies. If you have any questions, please put those down in the comments, and I definitely go back after all the videos and re-look at that so that I could either message you privately, or I could just answer right there in the comments so that if other ladies have the same questions that they can get answered. But I think that's just about it. I am going to go and finish the rest of my face, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. You are important and you are special. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this video, click like for me or share with your friends and family. It just helps us grow the business so that we can keep bringing you all of these great videos. All right, you take care and have a great rest of your day.